Hi, soul travelers. Welcome back to my channel where I share my spiritual knowledge and experiences, help you grow on your spiritual journey while I continue to grow on my own. As y'all know, you can always hit me up for a personal and private tarot reading. Love is my specialty. I do career and fertility and personal blockages as well, but love, that is my favorite topic to read on because I'm great at it. You can look in the description box below and get my link, the Soul Traveler Tarot, on Facebook. All right, so let's get into the video. Abundance versus addiction. Yes, today I want to talk about the difference between living in the spirit of abundance, like living in the flow, and living in the spirit of addiction. And I know y'all are like, what the fuck are you talking about? What does that have to do with anything? Because when everybody hears addiction, like they think about drugs, alcohol, this and that. I mean, I know I'm aware that some of y'all like smoke and stuff, but that's not what I'm really talking about, okay? What I'm talking about is, all right, before we start living the spiritual lifestyle, right, we all have something we're addicted to. And some of y'all might still be like struggling with like that kind of thing, substance abuse. But something we need for the extra mental stimulation, like eating, like overeating, you know what I'm saying? To fill that space, give us that stimulation, drinking alcohol, sex, weed, whatever, okay? When we become more like actively spiritual, and I say actively because we're all born spiritual, okay? But when we get actively spiritual, we also risk creating a new kind of addiction, right? Because a lot of us will start eating better, like kicking alcohol, like all this stuff to like clean up our bodies so we can like get it in high vibration and get it to match, right? But we risk creating a new kind of addiction. A lot of us actually become addicted to spirituality. Yes, yes. And this can happen in different ways, okay? There's a couple different ways. I noticed there's like two major different ways, okay? One of them being is getting addicted to manifesting, okay? Addicting to intending something to come to fruition, something material, money, cars, things like that, and watch it appear before our eyes, right? So it's not just the material we get addicted to, it's the manifesting, it's the act of being able to create, like almost like magic, right? A lot of people get addicted to this, but it is most common with money. We get amazed, like at our ability to bring forth any amount that we desire, anything that we want. Just boom, we can get it to show up, right? Once we master it, and before you know it, like that's the part you are like focused on all the time. For me, for instance, like a couple weeks ago, I was like, I'm gonna make $1,000 in a week. And you like this is like the first time I really gotten to the point in my spirituality where I could like really believe that I could do that, right? And I'm not gonna say I like had doubts, but I was just like, okay, I'd never like tried to go for like that like amount like that, like just quick like that. Um, so it happened, and the next thing you know, it's like that's all I want to do. I just like I've been doing readings out the ass. Now I'm grateful for the readings I've been getting, but it's like I got addicted to like not even can't having the money, but it was just like I was addicted to like, oh my god, I can make this much. Oh, I'm gonna make this much by tomorrow. I mean, and it was happening, and it's still happening, but I'm like trying to actively slow it down because I'm getting to my point. Anyway, it's like it's all you can focus on. You get into the manifesting, like addicted to manifesting, right? Um, Other people get high from the feeling tapped in, get addicted to feeling tapped in with spirit. Okay, and they can all go like hand in hand. But like that high from like being tapped in, receiving downloads, like feeling in that energy, right? On that divine energy. And in those cases, people tend to spend like all of their time meditating, all their free time watching YouTube videos on spiritual knowledge. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people get obsessed with astrology and zodiac signs. That's a huge one. Like crystals become like all they spend their money on, like crystals and herbs and like all these fancy spiritual stuff. Because look, y'all, we don't need fancy shit to be spiritual, okay? Let me just remind you. But how do I know? Because, like I said, I've been through all of this. I've been through all these stages of addiction with spirituality. Okay. So there's nothing wrong with being spiritual or living in a state of abundance. However, is that we can't get so obsessed with manifesting material or obsessed with aspects of spirituality that we start neglecting other parts of our life. And this is how you can tell if you're living in the spirit of addiction. Look at the rest of your life. Like think about that thing like you're always like focused on. Like whether it's manifesting material stuff or like the crystals or like constantly focused on astrology or whatever aspect of this spirituality that you're focused on, pay attention to the other parts of your life. Like your kids, your relationship with your kids, your relationship with your husbands, boyfriends, family, your bank account. If you're like not, if you're on the other side of that, so where like you're always buying crystals and watching YouTube videos, and you're like manifesting part is like falling to the wayside, or like finances are struggling, but you're obsessed. Either way, like if all the other areas of your life are like suffering, but that one thing that you just can't stop doing concerning spirituality, then chances are you're living in the spirit of addiction. Okay, because this defeats the entire purpose of living a spiritual life. Like we get close to spirit so that we can live a life of balance. We can live in the flow, so we can be in ease, right? Not like let me watch this YouTube video. Oh, more crystals. Oh, let me do my manifesting ritual so I can get some more money. Like all the time. Like it's supposed to be like a balance. Because when we're doing that, we're still feeding the spirit of addiction and not the spirit of balance, not the spirit of true abundance. Okay, that's more in the spirit of obsession. If you're addicted to like using manifesting methods and tools, right, to bring money or simply just to watch your magic work, like most likely you're neglecting your actual connection with spirit, forgetting to do your actual like spiritual work, like your grounding, your chakra work, like tapping in, doing your meditation stuff, right? You're busy all the time doing your manifestation methods, right? In the 369 method or whatever ritual you're using. Likewise, if you're spending all your money on buying crystals and spiritual tools, then you're not really living or being balanced, because you're lacking. Like if your bank account's dwindling and you can't never afford to do stuff, but you're constantly spending money on spiritual activities and or tools, then you're not really living in the flow. You're living in addiction because when you're tapped in and really connecting and living in the flow, you're gonna have money. Okay. So maybe you don't need all those tools. Astrology. Astrology is one of the most common, and that was one of the ones that got me really hard. Like I was living like freaking out, like if I read my horoscope, or freaking out at the alignment of the planets, like as if I had no control over my life. People get so obsessed because we love when we find out stuff like, oh, that's why I'm like that because of my chart of this, and it's so amazing when we find out like how the planets influence and all of that. But we get obsessed and let it completely run our life because we're not even creating our own reality intentionally anymore. We are creating by default because we're like, oh, this planet's in retrograde and I have this placement in my birth chart. So such and such is happening and I can't do anything about it. Like you're freaking out literally in fear because of placements that the planets are in or the positions the planets are in or what's in your birth chart or whatever. Now, it is a tool. Yes, it can help us get understanding. It influences, but it should not be running our life because then we are stepping completely outside of the whole point of where we're supposed to be creating our own lives intentionally, right? So that's like saying that anything else outside of ourselves runs our life, okay? Um, I hope I'm not confusing y'all with this. I hope it makes sense. So, yeah, spiritual tools and practices help us on our journey. Yes, astrology is a great way of understanding ourselves and the energy around us. Yes, we're supposed to create abundance for ourselves. But none of these are supposed to rule over us and determine our life, okay? Because that's not balance. The key is balance. The whole point is to be in the flow, meaning balance and letting spirit guide us, okay? The spirit of addiction is very tricky because it can like sneak up on us and basically puts us in the same place we were before we started living a spiritual life, but it's just with a different label. Spirit of addiction keeps us from creating intentionally, okay? It keeps us creating by default because it's a distraction, just like alcohol, just like any other drug. All right, so Not talking down on anybody's spiritual practice. I'm saying just be mindful that you're actually in the flow, in the spirit of abundance, and not the spirit of addiction, because that keeps us from expanding. Okay. All right, y'all. So I just wanted to share that message with y'all because Spirit really put that on me. I didn't even feel like making this video. Spirit's like, yeah, you need to make that video. Probably because I've been struggling with it with manifesting money. So I just kind of had to take a step back from that. But anyway, yeah, y'all get at me for your personal readings. My link is in the box below, and feel free to always take care of your leaders and teachers. Donations are welcome for those of you who feel moved. Information's in the box below. All right, y'all. Bye, soul travelers. That's all I have for you today. See you at the next time.